Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 4 of Tailgate Party Backyard Barbecue Pit. And once again, we are here to bring you some exciting recipes that you can actually do at the tailgate party, whether you're at the stadium or you're at home in your patio. So today we are going to make some quesadillas. And not just any quesadillas, but some fajita quesadillas. And you can actually do this at your tailgate, whether you're at the stadium with a grill or you're doing something else. Definitely, this is something that you can do pretty easy and pretty quick. And tonight we're going to show you how. So to get started, first of all, I've got some rice that is pre-cooking here that we're going to accompany our quesadillas. So I'm watching this as we speak. It's been cooking for a few hours already. And by the way, for those of you wondering where to purchase this exclusive backyard barbecue apron, Eat My Meat, the backyard barbecue edition, you can purchase that upcoming this December in our merch store. So for those of you wanting to buy a holiday gift for your grill master, whether it's a he or a she, you will be able to purchase these exclusive backyard barbecue pit Eat My Meat grilling aprons. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get started. First of all, as I mentioned, we are going to make some quesadillas. So one of the very first things we are going to do, give me a second here, is we are going to use some flour tortillas. The quesadillas that we are making are flour tortilla based today. So we're going to go ahead and do that. The other thing we're going to do, let me grab some other ingredients from my fridge, is we've got some Fiesta Blend cheese that contains Monterey Jack, cheddar, queso quesadilla, and asadero cheese. You can get that at your local Walmart fairly easily. They're about $2. And then we've got some fajita that we're going to actually grill on the grill back there. Fajita is outside skirt steak for those of you that are living up north. To accompany those quesadillas, we are going to make a guacamole. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start by turning on our grill back there so it can get ready so that we can put the fajitas on the grill. So give me 1 second while I turn that, and I'm going to go ahead and shift the camera here. Let's go ahead and start the grill. And there we go. For today, we're only going to use the middle burners because I don't have a whole lot of meat to grill. I'm going to go ahead and lower the temperature on the grill for now. And while we wait, while that heats up, let me check on my rice real quick. It's looking good so far. It's Spanish rice, by the way, for those of you wondering. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the easy stuff first, which is the guac. And I've got a ripe Hass avocado. You can get these at the store. These are the larger ones. You know, they've got the small avocados and then they've got the big ones. And I like to get the big ones usually. So let me go ahead and take off the sticker. I have no idea why they put these stickers on here. And they're not very removable either. So let me go ahead and do that real quick here. And by the way, for those of you that are wondering, if you want to catch this episode and future episodes, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at brownsvilletechlive.com. And basically, when you do that, when you subscribe, you're going to get notifications of all our shows, including the Tailgate Party, the Spin Zone, Doug's Dugout, all our SpaceX Starship coverage, you name it, but you're going to be able to do that when you're a subscriber to our YouTube channel. And for those of you still on Facebook, you can become a follower on Brownsville Tech Live and 956live.com. The rice is looking pretty good. I'm going to lower it just a little bit more to about a 1 here. So I'm actually using my burner right now, my infrared hot plate here. So here is a Hass avocado. I'm going to go ahead and slice it down. 1 second. And these were purchased by my sister-in-law yesterday. Oh my God, they're not that great. Oh my gosh, this is not good. Let me go ahead and get the other one. Oh Lord, this is not good. Let me go ahead and throw this one away. See what happens? You've got to be very careful when you buy avocados at the store because you don't know how they're going to come out. And you can consider this a blooper for today's episode. So let me go ahead and try to see if the other avocado that's inside is in much better shape than this one. Obviously, this one needs to be thrown away. So give me a second. There's just no way that I can tell whether they're good or not before I open them up. So let me go ahead and get the other avocado. I'll be right back, folks. All right, I'm back. Let's hope that this next avocado is a good avocado. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. Let's see. Drum roll, please. Drum roll. I guess not. They're not good avocados. Bummer. I guess we're not going to have avocados tonight. This is not good. So this is a perfect example of why you need to be careful when you buy avocados, because you just don't know how good they're going to be until you open them up. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that I can do other than throw them away. There's no way that I'm going to feed these to my family. Bummer. All right, bad avocados. All right, let's check up on our rice. That's the important thing. I think we can check up on our rice. And there we go. Let's see here. Oh, it's looking good. I think it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. Now I'm going to give it a little taste just to make sure I've got all the spices. Let's see here. Oh, it's good. It is really good, folks. Wow. So this is Spanish rice, Mexican Spanish rice. It is perfect. It is perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this up because that is already done. So unfortunately, there is no guac tonight. So I had bought all this stuff for guac. Well, it's not going to happen. So let me go check up on our grill, see how hot it is. It is at 350 degrees. It's not hot enough. Maybe I will turn on the other two side burners just to get it to temperature. And then once it's at temperature, we're going to go ahead and put those on the grill. So, bummer. Well, what we can do is we can go ahead and start working on our meat. And like I said, this is about 1 pound of skirt steak. Just open up the bag here. There we go. So we're going to take out the skirt steak. All right. And as you can tell, this is what skirt steak looks like, for those of you wondering. It's almost like flank steak. It's actually in the same neighborhood as flank steak, but you want to make sure that you get it butterflied so that you're able to you're able to cook it evenly. This one looks like it's cooked evenly. I'm going to go ahead and slice it into 2 sections, and that's just so that, because I'm actually only going to use the bottom burner, I mean, sorry, the middle burners. I don't have enough room for the whole thing unless I activate all the other burners, and I don't want to do that. So here you go. 2 equal pieces, just like that. 2 equal pieces. You see how beautiful that skirt steak is? I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands. You always want to have clean hands. All right. Temperature is now perfect. I'm going to go ahead and lower the heat on these. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sprinkle the fajitas, even though they come pre-marinated. I'm going to sprinkle the fajitas with a garlic pepper seasoning. Go ahead and sprinkle that. Garlic and pepper, because you cannot go wrong with garlic and pepper, folks. Can't go wrong with garlic and pepper. So you want to flip them over and do the same thing, because you don't want a one-sided spiced fajita. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. Add some garlic pepper. All right, there we go. So basically, we're going to go ahead and put these fajitas to grill. Let me go ahead and flip over to our camera at the grill section, and I'm lifting up the top, and I'm going to take the fajitas. Here we go. Do you hear that sear? Awesome. There we go. There we go. Well, that is a bummer that we were not able to have guac with our quesadillas. That really sucks. It really sucks royally. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these away. There's no point of even attempting to rescue some of the good pieces of the guac, of the avocado. It just doesn't make any sense at this point. So with that said, this goes in the trash. For this episode, I finally got smart and decided to get some bags for the trash. Obviously, we're not going to need the cilantro after all, because no, we're not going to need the cilantro. And obviously, we're not going to need the onion either, because I was going to put onion, I was going to put tomato, I was going to put cilantro and jalapeno in our guac. But I guess I could talk about what I was going to do. Well, first of all, what I was going to do, had I had some good avocados, is I was going to use my molcajete. If possible, try to use a molcajete. For those of you out there that live too far from Mexico to get one, you can get one at your local grocery store, Mexican grocery store. These are awesome. And so what I typically do first is, like I said, I take the avocados and I take them out of the shell, and I put them in here in the guac, and then I start pounding them down. And then I start cutting some onion, and I start cutting some tomato finely, and I mix that in. And then I'll cut some jalapeno, I'll mix that in, and then I will add some limes just like this, and I'll add it to the mix, and I will cut a little bit of cilantro finely chopped as well. I'll mix it all together, and this becomes the salsa that we use for our quesadillas. But once again, the whole point of this is to make some quesadillas. In the meantime, while the fajitas are grilling, I'm going to go ahead and go over to my sink and wash this cutting board down for now. So let me come over here. Excuse me while I have to wash this, because you definitely do not want raw protein on your quesadillas or anything that you're cooking, right? So let me go ahead and pour some soap on my cutting board. This is one of the best cutting boards that I actually own. It is really, really huge, and it's nice and thick, and I really, really enjoy this cutting board. And I only paid $24 for it, believe it or not. I found it as a bargain, and no, I did not find it at a flea market. I actually found it at a store in the mall, believe it or not. I ran away with the bank when it comes to this cutting board. All right, so let me go ahead and kind of wash these utensils as well. At least my big knife, right? Cool. So we've got a clean cutting board, and let's go ahead and check up on our fajitas real quick. Let's lift up. Look at that, folks. Look at how those fajitas are cooking. They're already turning kind of grayish. Look at that. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over, and I'm going to go ahead and flip this over as well. There we go. Great. So we've got that going. I said, look at this rice. It is awesome. Look at this rice. Oh my gosh. It is awesome. Oh, hold on. You can't see it, can you? Here's the rice, folks. Here is the rice. Look at that rice. It is perfect. It is not even, mushy. I don't like mushy rice. So, for me, it's really critical that the rice is perfect. And I learned this the hard way, believe it or not. It took me a while to figure this out. But basically, when you're cooking rice, well, for example, in this recipe, I used half a cup of long-grained enriched rice. Any brand is fine. And what I did is I used vegetable oil, and I browned the rice for a few minutes until it became kind of brown. And then I added exactly 2 cups of water and 1 bouillon cube. And that's it. I also used some garlic powder, some of this garlic pepper powder, and some regular pepper in that mix. And I put that to simmer for about 15 minutes. Once the water is almost completely gone, I completely turn the burner off completely and let the rice soak the remaining liquid. And that is how I ended up perfecting the art of making rice. So let's go ahead and check our fajitas again. And they are grilling. They are grilling big time. So for the quesadillas, you're wondering, how am I going to do the quesadillas? Well, I'm using a comal today. So I'm going to go ahead and take the comal and place it on there. And I guess I should turn it on for now. Yeah, just so that it starts heating, because those fajitas are going to be ready eventually. So if you take a look at the fajitas, they are grilling. They are grilling. Look at that. Look at that. Look at these fajitas as they are grilling. Look at those fajitas. That is awesome. And for our quesadillas, we're going to use these flour tortillas. They're the Mission brand, okay? And they're made for fajitas. So we're going to go ahead and do that. That's what we're going to use for that. So for those of you wondering, what made me decide to do a grilling show, right? Well, most of you don't know, but before I started podcasting, I actually had a few cooking shows that I had done on YouTube. I started off doing that, and I did that for a while, and then I got into podcasting, right? It was the same equipment. It was just the mere fact that I had not done actual podcasting. So I started podcasting. And at first, the podcasts were dedicated to technology. That's how you came up with the name Brownsville Tech Live. So we were focused on technology. We were focused on product reviews. And then we decided that we were going to do SpaceX coverage. So we covered all the SpaceX launches, regardless of where they were happening, whether it was at Cape Canaveral or whether it was at Vandenberg. It didn't matter. We covered all the Falcon 9 launches. That's how we started. And then once Starship started launching, doing test launches from Boca Chica, we started covering those. And we cover those every single time there's a launch. We've covered all 11 launches up to this point. And that is our biggest draw for coverage. So we continue to actually do Starship coverage. And then we expanded our content into sports shows. We started off with a show exclusively for the Dallas Cowboys. It's called The Spin Zone. We've been on for about 3 years. And we cover everything to do with the Cowboys, from the beginning of football season all the way through the Super Bowl. And we have an annual giveaway where we give a Dallas Cowboy jersey. The last 2 out of the 3 years, we actually we actually registered based on donations, and this year we were able to give away a Dallas Cowboy jersey for free. And all that was required was the person had to be a registered follower on both Brownsville Tech Live and on 956 Live. And so based on that, we did have a lucky winner, and we handed that jersey just about a week or two ago is when we did that. Let's go check on our fajitas here. I think I need to raise the heat a little bit on here. Cooking a little slow. Hopefully I'm not running out of gas. I don't think I should, because that's a brand new tank. So we've got the Spin Zone, and then we also have another show. It's called Doug's Dugout, where we focus on the Major League Baseball, and we've been on that show for 4 years. Doug is on season 4 of the Spin Zone. We're about to complete the 4th season, and hopefully Doug will be back for a 5th season of Doug's Dugout, where we cover the MLB starting from March, I believe, all the way till the World Series, which is just ending here shortly. So we've got that show as well. We also cover the UT Longhorns, the football, as well as the UT-RGV Vaqueros. So we've become very sports-centric over the last year or so with regards to our content. We also, on occasion, we will cover local politics. We'll also cover local and national politics, but we try to limit that content because, quite honestly, I don't think most people care about politics at this point. They really don't even want to know about politics, so we kind of keep that to a minimum because it isn't a big draw for us, as our sports content and our SpaceX coverage is. So be sure to tune into those shows, and the way that you can do that is by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Brownsville Tech Live. And it's pretty simple. You just go click the subscribe button and away you go. So here is the fajitas. They're actually cooking. They're grilling still there. So yes, so that is basically our content. Man, where is, I thought I had turned this thing on. I guess I didn't turn the comal on. Bummer. So pretty excited about these quesadillas coming up. So these tortillas are pretty good. We actually made like 40 tacos like 2 weeks ago for a church function. So they're pretty tasty. You know. So we're going to go ahead and do those as soon as the comal starts. All right. So basically, to answer the question is, how did we get to the tailgate party? Well, we kind of talked about how we were becoming very sports centric, and we wanted to find out, if we could do a grilling show, but a live grilling show, right? And the thing about grilling shows or any kind of cooking show in a live environment is it's more difficult to do. It is not the same thing as when you do a pre-recorded show, and you can edit. You can edit all the bad things that happen, or all the things that shouldn't happen, right? But in a live environment, as you guys found out with my avocados, anything can go wrong, right? And obviously today we had the issue with the avocados, right, being bad. So we kind of toyed around with the idea, what kind of grilling show should we do? And we've been talking about doing a grilling show for many months, starting with the summer. And we decided to kind of hook the grilling show with tailgating, because people like to eat when it comes to watching the football game, right? So we decided to do a tailgate show in a live format. And that's what we're doing. That's what you're watching today. This is a live format. We're broadcasting this across YouTube. We're broadcasting this across Facebook. And then you'll be able to catch copies of this when we upload those to Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. We're on 12 social media platforms. We are the largest podcasting network in South Texas. There is no one that has extensive coverage the way we do. So we're able to hit a bigger target audience than a lot of other folks can, because we're on 12 social media platforms. So that's how we got to the tailgate party, and that's why we're here. And one of the nice things about the tailgate party is that we can actually use all our technologies. A lot of times in our podcasts, we're limited into all the equipment that's available to us to use for broadcasting. In a typical one-on-one podcast, I'm not using a multi-camera setup. In this particular case, I'm using 3 cameras. The one that you're seeing me on right now, there's one on top up here, and there's another one facing the grill. So that's kind of cool, right? And we're able to switch back and forth between camera views. So that is one of the advantages of this of a cooking show, is that you're able to employ your multi-camera setup, for the particular views and so forth. So that is one of the nice things that I enjoy doing, is being able to look at different camera views through different angles. So it looks like our comal is almost there. I'm going to go ahead and take out one of my fajitas here in a little bit and see how they look. But as you can see, they're still grilling. They're still grilling out there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull one out and see how it does here. It's, one of the things about grilling outside, especially during the evening, is I can't really tell, because of the darkness. Let me go ahead and get a fork so I could hold this down. Actually, now I'm going to try to see if I could cut it like this. So one of the things you want to do when you're slicing fajitas is you want to cut against the grain. And I believe the grain is going in that direction. So you want to go ahead and cut against the grain. And the question that you may have is, well, why do you cut against the grain? Oh, by the way, let me go ahead and flip here. Let me go ahead and move this camera slightly down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so basically, I've got the fajita that we took out of the grill. And what you want to do, as I mentioned, is you want to make sure that you always cut against the grain. And if you're wondering, well, why do you cut against the grain? Well, the reason you cut against the grain is because the fibers are much softer when you cut against the grain. You're not having to use your teeth to try to pull the fajita apart. So that's one of the reasons why you always want to try to cut against the grain. Now, that is not to say that you won't be able to always successfully cut it correctly. Obviously, that may not always happen, but in this particular case, as you can see, I'm easily cutting against the grain. So here we go. my doggies are back outside. They are just waiting. They're just waiting for something to drop. These little rascals are waiting for something to drop. But see, I'm actually cutting against the grain now. So look at that, folks. Look at that. You know, one thing I didn't think about, maybe I'll do this right now since we're on, is I'll grill some onions on this comal. It didn't dawn on me about that. I've got the onions right here. So why don't we do that too? But see, here's the fajita meat. It is awesome. Look at that. So I'm cutting against the grain just like that. It is a nice, warm evening. I'm actually enjoying this. One of the other reasons why I did not launch the barbecue show during the summer is exactly for that reason, because it was the summer and it was hotter than hell out here in South Texas. I mean, we're talking 100 degrees. And of course, there's a lot of mosquitoes. So now with the cooler weather, obviously the mosquitoes are going away. And it gives a very, very nice temperature outside to where you can actually, you know, do grilling and stuff like that. It's actually nicer to grill during the fall than it is during the middle of summer. I mean, the middle of summer, it's just so hot that it's not even worth it, you know. So I've cut the first fajita. Let's try it. Oh my God. These things are awesome. These fajitas are awesome. Let me go pull out the other one. Look at this one. Look at how this one came out. Once again, like I mentioned, you've got the grains, the grain going in one direction, so you want to continue to cut. So we're going to do this. You see how easy it is to cut these? Just like that. Let's see. It tastes really good. Adding that garlic pepper mix just makes things a whole lot easier. Look at that, folks. Look at how easy these fajitas are coming out. I like cutting them in bits and pieces. A lot of times, a lot of people, they like to have them more like a steak, right? But I don't. I actually prefer them to be small because it makes things a whole lot easier from a chewing standpoint. And of course, you know, if you cut them small, especially if you're feeding more than 1 or 2 people, go ahead and cut it this way so I can manage better to cut against the grain here. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that, folks. Awesome. I think I better lower my comal here because things are going to start burning pretty quickly when I put that tortilla on there. There we go. There we go. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Wow. Look at that fajita meat. Awesome. There we go. There we go. Last one. Cherry Oreo. So why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and chop some onion. Okay. Put that to grill on the comal real quick. Go ahead and chop some onion real quick. So go ahead and do that. I almost cut myself. Not a good thing. Darn. Of course, Oreo's not going to go for the onion. That's for sure. These dogs are not dumb. All right, so I've chopped up some onion right now. I'm going to go ahead and put some oil on the comal real quick. Try. All right, so let's go ahead and put these onions. Look at the sizzle. Look at this sizzle. Let me show you here real quick. There we go. So there is the sizzle. Let me cut some more onions here. Ugh. Not easy cutting onions. All right. Okay, so here we go. Put the rest of the onions out here. You basically want to grill your onions here until they're kind of golden. So we've got our fajita meat, as you can see, and now we're grilling some onions. We've got some rice as well that I've made, so that's pretty cool. And we're getting closer to making our quesadillas. So hang in there. We're almost there. Almost there. I'm going to go ahead and rinse this bowl out. By the way, let me turn off the griddle. There's no sense of having it on, right? Turn off the gas. All right. So we've got our onions here that are grilling. Look at that, folks. Look at those onions. Look at those onions as they're grilling. So that's grilling. We've got our fajitas. We're about to put our tortillas here in a little bit, but right now we're grilling these onions. So let's go ahead and go back to our onions. Perfect. Yeah, it's so cool to be able to grill outside, and I'm kind of lucky, as I've said before, because I've got the advantage is that I've got a full outdoor kitchen. You know, I built this back in 2016, and then of course I added things as I went along the way. I added my Blackstone griddle. It's a portable griddle. It's not one built in. Got my gas grill. I've got my hot plate burners. I've got a beverage fridge down here that can hold about, I don't know, 50 or 60 of your 8 ounce cans. And then I've got another refrigerator down here that is for everything else, right? So that's pretty cool. And usually when I'm out here cooking, I put stuff in the mini fridge, and that kind of helps. And of course, you know, I converted my outdoor kitchen into a studio. So when it's not normally used for family functions, I'm using it as Studio K. And for those of you wondering my naming convention when it comes to studios, I have 3 studios. I have Studio A, which is basically upstairs, and that is where we do our normal podcasts. Then we've got Studio B, which is right across from here at Studio K, and that is towards my pool area. So I've got Studio B, and that's where we do a lot of our sports shows, you know, when the weather's good and so forth, and the mosquitoes are not in full force. And then, of course, Studio K, which is where we're at right now. And this is basically Studio K, stands for K for kitchen. And so it's basically my outdoor kitchen. And it's my outdoor kitchen studio. And soon here, we're going to launch a new studio called Studio G. And for those of you wondering what G stands for, well, I'm going to have a new studio that I'm going to build in my garage. I'm going to be converting my garage into another studio, but that studio is going to be a little different. It's going to be basically in kind of like a Joe Rogan format with a multi-camera setup, and guests will be able to come in and do pre-recorded or live podcasts as well. So we're going to expand to Studio G here, hopefully within the next few months, and it's going to be pretty cool. So be sure to tune into that. I'm really excited about Studio G coming up, but there's still a little bit of work that I have to do. I've got to get the garage all prepped up. I've got equipment that I've got to consider buying, lighting, all kinds of stuff, audio, video. So we're pretty excited about Studio G coming up, and hopefully we'll start launching shows from that as well. So bottom line is I'm going to be running all over the place in this building, you know, from Studio A to Studio B to Studio K to Studio G eventually. So, you know, it's going to be busy, that's for sure. Alrighty, so our onions are being grilled. I'm going to go ahead and start off by, hopefully, what temperature is this thing on? You know, it's kind of hard to tell. Let me see here. Well, it's at 1. Of course. What's wrong with me? Not good. How was I ever going to get further by putting on level 1 of the burner? So yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I said, I really enjoy doing these podcasts. You know, one of the things out there is that there's a lot of podcasters out there, especially locally. But I'm not sure if they really enjoy what they're doing, right? You want to be able to have meaningful content, and you want to be able to have content that you enjoy doing. And you want to be able to kind of expand beyond the local stuff that happens here locally on a day-to-day basis. Especially if you want to do YouTube, you're really trying to target a larger audience, which requires that your content becomes a little bit more focused on something other than just local stuff. And so you've got to enjoy what you're doing. And I'm lucky enough to where I've got so many different topics that, you know, I do, that it's never boring, right? It's never boring. And so it doesn't matter what the topic is. It can be technology, it can be politics, it can be space coverage, it can be cooking, it can be sports. Well, we've got it all. We do it all. And we know what the hell we're talking about, right, in the process. It's one thing to do something and not know what you're doing or what you're saying, but it's another when you've got the advantage of being able to cover multiple topics. And that's what we try to do here, is we try to expand. I'm going to go ahead and put these fajitas also to kind of warm up a little bit, because they've kind of cooled down since they came out of the grill. So we're kind of lucky from that aspect that we can cover all kinds of topics. You know, there you go. Look at that. Look at that, folks. You know what I think I may do? Let me go and get another pan. Another pan so I can actually make the quesadillas. And that'll be a non-stick pan. So I'm going to go ahead and move my rice. Let that warm up. while I go get another pan, let me turn on the griddle, the burner here. I'll be right back. All right, so as you can tell, I've got another pan, and this is a nonstick pan, so a little safer to use. And I've got some cooking spray. So in the meantime, as you can see, our fajitas are getting warmed up. Our grilled onions are getting warmed up. And I've got the other pan heating up for the quesadillas. I tried this rice again. I couldn't ask for better rice. All right, so let's go ahead and spray our pan. Spray it a little bit. Look at those fajitas. Oh my gosh. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Wow. Ay, ay, ay. Once again, I didn't have it all the way up. Not good. So we gotta let it heat up a little bit and work on my fajitas here. Awesome. Totally awesome. I'm going to lower this now a little bit because I think now this one's getting a little too hot. Okay. So, go ahead and put our first tortilla in. We've got our first tortilla in. And we've got our first tortilla in. Flip it over a little bit. Our fajitas are grilling. Go ahead and open up the cheese. There we go. Like I said, it's the Fiesta blend cheese from Walmart. Flip it over. Flip it over. What you want to do is you want to take this one out, put the contents of it. We're going to formulate our quesadilla foundation, And then we're going to put it all back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and flip this over again. So I'm going to take it out. I'm going to put this tortilla in to let it grill. So we're going to go ahead and start off with that. Go ahead and start putting some meat. Let me go ahead and flip this over a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so as you see, I'm putting some meat on the quesadilla. And then I'm putting some grilled onions. If you care for the grilled onions. Some people do, some people don't. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the cheese. Let's go ahead and put the cheese. Just like that. You see that, folks? Just like that. And then our other tortilla is coming right along. Flip it over. And there it goes. So it's kind of bubbling up a little bit now. So I'm going to go ahead and take that and put it just like that. And guess what? I'm going to take it back to the pan. Somewhat back to the pan. There we go. And let it melt for a few minutes. So there you go. So as you can tell, it's melting. It's actually, we're trying to get it to melt and toast and so forth. So we're going to go ahead and flip that over. Now, just like that. And let me go get a fork real quick. Go get a fork. Move, boys. Just a little bit more, Chrissy Poo. My daughter's already hungry. Ah, what happened? Oh, I lost my mic. Can you hear me still? Oh my gosh, what happened to my... Well, I don't know what happened to my my little clippy. I'm gonna have to find it. I lost my clip. That's not good. Ugh, okay, I'll have to find it somewhere. So let's go ahead and flip. Look at that. Look at that, folks. Look at that. Where is my clip? Where did it go? I can't. Wow. I can't find my clip. Huh. I lost my clip. Not good. All right, well, we'll have to figure it out. I think I've got some extra clips somewhere, I hope. Bummer. All righty, folks. So here we go. Oh, we're on my body, huh? Wow. Not sure what happened to my clip. All right, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and take out the quesadilla. And as you can see, look at how nice and crunchy this quesadilla is going to be. Look at that. Look at that, folks. Look at how nice. Look at how nice and gooey. Look at how nice and gooey this is going to be. Let me give it a shot. Let me give it a try. Oh my God. Folks, this is awesome. If you want to wow some of your friends at your tailgate party, this is exactly the kind of meal you want to serve on your tailgate party. It is awesome. It is juicy. I mean, the fajitas are juicy. The cheese is melting. You definitely want to make these for your next tailgate party. They are awesome. Wow. And then you combine it with some rice. Some rice just like that. Oh my gosh. This stuff is awesome. Alrighty, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's tailgate episode. We'll be back in a few days to bring you some more exciting recipes that you can actually do as part of your tailgate or just every day, everyday cooking. So have a great Saturday evening, and go Cowboys on Monday. Good night, everybody.